Well, people, the life of Chuck. Yeah, this was really interesting, right? It's based on a Stephen King novella. And this is written and directed by Mike Flanagan, who seems to enjoy adapting King, you know? The film is produced by Trevor Macy. And Mike Flanagan. It's executive produced by Ellen Gale, D. Scott Lumpkin, Melinda Nishoka, Kevin Park, Molly C. Quinn, Tom Quinn, Stefan Sonnenfeld, Emily Thomas, Jason Ward, Matthew M. Welty, Amanda Williams, and Daniel Williams, along with Stephen King. It is associate produced by Dan Kellamson, Alexandra Magistro, Shannon Was. It has music from the Newton Brothers. They took care of the score. Eben Bolter is down with the cinematography. Mike Flanagan edits the piece. Casting, we have Anne McCarthy, Morgan Robbins, and Kelly Roy. Steve Arnold is production design. Art direction, we have Kelly Curley. Marcus Whitman is set decoration. Costume design is Terry Anderson. Hair and makeup, all of that. We have Katie Ballard, Susie Bequick, Anderson Foreman, Amy L. Forsyth, Monique Lewis, Natalie Varengia, Ashley West. Who else do we have? Okay, let's go to cast. Alright, so Chuck, we have 3 iterations of Chuck, right? So the 7-year-old Chuck is played by Mike's son, Cody Flanagan. 11-year-old Chuck is played by Benjamin Pajak. The 17-year-old Chuck is played by Jacob Tremblay. And then our adult Chuck is played by Tom Hiddleston. Chuck's grandparents, right? So there's Albie, his granddad, or Zadie, another name for it, I'm assuming, is played by Mark Hamill. His grandmother, or Bubby, is Sara. Krantz is played by Mia Sara. Chuck's wife, right? He's married, right, and has a son. His wife Ginny is played by Quaranka Kilcher. His son Brian is played by Antonio Raul Corbo. Chuck's mother, right, who I forgot we did see, is played by Molly C. Quinn. Okay, so we then have got Let's go Marty Anderson, played by Chitwell Ejiofor. Felicia Gordon, played by Karen Gillan. We've got Janice Holiday, played by Annalise Basso. Taylor Frank, I think that's what it says, is played by Taylor Gordon. Sam Yarborough is played by Carl Lumbly. Miss Richards is played by Kate Siegel. Samantha Sloyan is Miss Rothbacher. Trinity Bliss plays Kat McCoy. Gus Wolfrong is played by Matthew Lillard. Bry is played by Raul Corbo. Heather Langenkamp is Vera. Violet McGraw is Iris. David Dastmalchian is Josh. And you might recognize him from Murderbot, right? Harvey Gillian is Hector. Michael Trucco is Dylan. Well, Dylan's dad. Matt Beidel is Mr. Winston. Hamish Linklater is a reporter. We just hear the voice. An Italian reporter whose voice we hear is voiced by Lauren Lavera. Carla Guineo is the television voiceover. The whole thing is narrated by... oh my God. My mind's just gone blank. My mind has gone completely blank. Frigging Nick Offerman. Oh, boy. And Mike Flanagan is a mourner at the funeral. So he gets a little cameo. The gist of the thing, right? So, gosh. Yes, hold on. We follow the formative moments in the life of Charles Chuck Krantz, chronicled in reverse chronological order from his death coinciding with the end of the universe to his childhood. Yeah, so yeah, this, as I said, this is based on a Stephen King novella that dropped in 2020. Never heard of it, right? Never heard of it. I just saw this film, The Life of Chuck, and I thought, oh, that's a good cast. So I figured, yeah, I'll go see it. Plus, it was one of the Odeon kind of, member offer thingies, right? And I'm just like, yo, I pay for it. Let me go see. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I came along and I did not know what to expect. No clue. In my head, I wondered if it would be like the oh gosh, was it those Ronald Dahl things Netflix did with Benedict Cumberbatch? There was like The Swan and those other ones. I thought it might be along those kind of lines. I don't know why. Right, that or that one with Ben Stiller, right? Marty something, I thought it might be one of them kind of things, or Benjamin Button, right? But I had no real clue. And so, yeah, we've got Marty and we've got his ex-wife. Oh gosh, Felicia. That's how we start, right? And we learn that the internet is malfunctioning. Things are stopping. Parts of the world are disappearing, flooding, and it's just like, oh, what is going on? Right? Everything's kaput, it would seem. So we have this story, and there's like these amusing moments when Marty is talking to one of the parents at parents' evening about Pornhub. So that that was enough to kind of just make you smile a little bit, right? But it is, at this point, it's not a frantic story or anything. It's very unassuming, but it's kind of quaint, so you're just watching this thing. But we have these two people that were married, and they're kind of navigating this whole thing, right? This end of the world that might be or might not be, who knows? And there's something heartwarming about that, right? But this is chapter 3. So then we jump into chapter 2, and we see, we first have Taylor. I think Taylor was the first one, right? Who's setting up her drum. She's busking. Then we have Janice, who's been dumped. And then we see Chuck. So it's just like, okay. Because Chuck is dead in the first one. So we're like, okay, so this is, right, the person who, because there was all these billboards and everything about the, Chuck and him being ill and thanks Chuck and all of this all over the place, right? So we have that. So now we see Chuck. So we kind of get an understanding of who this is, right? And he has a little dance, right? And in Act 3, now we're with young Chuck, right? He's 11. 7 and 11, right? And so we find out about his early years, right? How he learned to dance, right? All of these kind of things. And that there is, again, it's not crazy, but there is what I will say, the dance scene, there's this, I don't know, this kind of residual warmth to it, right? This echo of love, you know what I mean? And in this last act, aka the first act, we have these similar moments, right? Like Chuck with his grandma is just, it's very sweet, right? And then Chuck with Cat and dancing and all of that. It is just, it's like these moments that remind you that, like, accepting who you are, right? Accepting who you are, and love can blossom from that. You know what I mean? Like, not everyone is going to be everyone's cup of tea, but there are connections to be had, and that's where the warmth is, right? That's where the magnitude is, right? It was those, right? The happiness in the cracks of life, you know what I mean? That's what that kind of said to me, right? The film, not any, like, nothing crazy happens, And there's a lot that kind of goes unanswered, right? Because we kind of get this fleshing out of the life of Chuck. And it's heartwarming, you know? It really is. There's this subtlety to it that is really nice, is well handled, you know? But we kind of don't, there's all of these things we do not know, right? Like, why would there be billboards and all this other stuff for Chuck? You know what I mean? It's like we see the lives he did touch. You know what I mean? And it wasn't a load, gangbusters or anything, but we see, like with Janice and Taylor, how he kind of uplifted them. So we see this. So you can only assume that there must be more, but we don't know. So it kind of makes that first arc a little superfluous, And the other odd thing, in the last part, which is kind of at the beginning, I feel we see characters from the first part that we saw, which technically makes no sense. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be there if you're at the start, because that's, you know what I mean? But maybe it's just my shitty eyes, right? I'm not sure. But there is that. Now, the acting, I'm not sure about the acting. Right? The acting was great. I thought, Karen Gillan and Chitwell Ejiofor, there is a magnetism about those two. So you definitely believe there was something and is something still between them. I thought this may be the best thing Mark Hamill has ever done. Because to be honest, I've never really thought he's a great actor. And listen. Hey, millions do. Right? So it's not saying he's terrible or anything like that. But I just, Luke Skywalker, it never really came across as mad nuanced or anything, And especially the newer Star Wars films. Anyway. But I thought he was very good in The Machine from a couple of years ago, right? But this, my God, he was fantastic as Albie Krantz, Fantastic. Mia Sara, oh my gosh. She was a delight. Right? Now, I hear that she had kind of retired from acting. And she only came back because she likes Mike Flanagan's work. But she was a sensation as, his grandma. She really was just magical. There was this warmth about her, which you just go, that's a grandma. Right? That is amazing. Just all the love and everything. It was just there. It just resonated from her. She was marvelous. Marvelous. Right? You then have all our iterations of Chuck that work very well. And we don't see them much. But Quaranka Kilcher is lovely as Ginny. He's Chuck's wife. So we have these tremendous performances that really do work, right? Taylor Frack, right? She was fantastic. I don't know. On IMDb, it's got her down as the pocket queen. I don't know what that means. Because I think when I saw her, I was like, I feel I recognize you from something, but I couldn't put my finger on it. So I'm assuming she is big, but maybe she's a musician. I mean, it looked like she played the drums. I don't know if that was fake, but she was very good in what she did. So that was another very good performance, right? Annalise Basso as Janice Holiday, right? There was this magnetism about the cast. The cast were wonderful. So we do have this fragmented thing here, like with these really incredible moments and glimpses into love and relationship and warmth, but then also a story that doesn't quite fulfill its need in a way. Now, I do love a slice of life film, right? I love a film that is just exploring like facets of emotion. So I don't need bangs and chases and explosions and all of this. So I did like the film. You know what I mean? But there was like an emptiness in a way there, right? There was this thing that just didn't feel quite complete, right? That's what it seemed like. But there were definitely, and it's just that the message of choosing to live a full life and not being held by the fear of what will be to come. I thought that was there. That resonated, And I think it's not just in that last bit, but in like the dancing at the fall spring, whatever it is, you know what I mean? Like that choice. And there's these choices, these moments. The first dance we see, right? Taylor deciding to be a busker. There is these moments of I am embracing uncertainty, right? I am throwing myself into freedom. And I felt these things were there. And I liked that. I really did. So it is flawed. It is flawed, but there is a charm to it. You know what I mean? There is a charm to it. Oh, Walter Mitty. That's the Ben Stiller film. It just suddenly came to me. The uneventful life of Walter Mitty, something like that, right? Which, if you enjoyed that, if you enjoyed Benjamin Button, right? Like, if you enjoyed those films and you like that type of film, I feel the life of Chuck will work for you. So it is out in cinemas on Friday. Yeah, people, you know what I mean? I'm very interested to see what happens with this, let's say, because I don't know if it's going to resonate with the masses. But yeah, there is a charm to it. So let me know, how did you find the life of Chuck?